to grab any equipment you think you might need. I don't think we'll need anything other than a block or a bolster, and then join me on the mat, and we're going to start standing up today. Oh. Aces. So let's take the feet a comfortable distance apart and then soften the knees and do a gentle twist from side to side. I'm finding that my feet being free from the mat is a little bit easier on my knees at the moment. So if you want to do that, you can do that. If you want to keep your feet still, if that suits your legs and hips better, then you can do that. Here, you want to begin to engage your pelvic floor muscles, if you know where they are, if you're in touch with them, and your abdominal muscles, drawing them inwards and upwards, just a touch. Keeping the shoulders nice and soft, arms relaxed, fingers soft, and let your head follow your movement. Oh, we have a late attendee. Keep going, guys. Super duper. So if you want to, you can add a bend in the knees. Good morning, Adrian. I'm just going to mute you so we can get started. Oh, you're on mute already. Very good. There we go. Smashing. So we're just doing a bit of Kati Chakrasana, and you can add a little bend in the knees in the center. Bend and twist, bend and twist, bend and twist. And as you do this, perhaps you feel that that extra motion means that you have lost contact with that abdominal engagement. So firming up those abdominal muscles, drawing them inwards and upwards. And then we're going to let the bend go and keep pivoting on the toes. And then today we're going to walk the feet towards each other so that we bring our feet together and then keep the head centered and let the body twist around the centered head and feet. And you'll feel your twist is in a different place in your body. And if you draw your abdominal muscles inwards and upwards, you'll maybe feel a little bit more action in the obliques, the muscles that come down the sides of the abdomen. Very good. And then we'll just gently relax our arms, let the movement go, and return ourselves to steadiness. Aces, well done. So Kati Chakrasana, the ragdoll, is a really great way to get rid of postural tension. So tension that we have from holding our bodies in a certain position. But it's also, it can be done in lots of different ways depending on where you feel that tension and where you have it to release. Today, our practice will be focused on stabilizing our core and also strengthening it. And the core people think of very much as just being this little bit here, but we're going to imagine that it starts from the knees and goes all the way up to the top of the chest. We have another late arrival, 2 ticks. So just thinking about what muscle groups we've got there in those parts of the body. So if we start at the front of the body, we've got the quadriceps here in the thighs. There are 4 of them, hence the word quad in their name. We've got the hip flexors, which are the muscles here. If you place your hands just at the top of your legs and lift one leg and then the other, you'll feel a sort of rope-like muscle underneath. And that's the iliopsoas. It's actually 2 muscles, but the hip flexor. We've got the transverse abdominis, which are across the lower belly, the rectus abdominis, which are in the center of the belly, the 6-pack, should you have one, and the oblique muscles. And then across the chest, the muscles that we primarily focus on are the pectorals. And then in the back of the body, we've got the hamstrings. There are 3 of them. We've got the quadriceps, sorry, not the quadriceps, the gluteus muscles. There are 3 of them, and there's also a muscle underneath called the piriformis. And in the bottom of the back, we've got the quadratus lumborum. We've got the multifidus or multifidus muscles up and down the spine, and things like the erector spinae. And then in the top of the back, we've got things like the latissimus dorsi, the rhomboids, the trapezius muscles, and things like the serratus scapulus. There are lots and lots of shoulder muscles, but we won't worry too much about those for this core. We're going to focus more on the muscles that I have mentioned. And it's not that you need to know any of those muscles, it's just helpful. Particularly, I know lots of you have prior anatomy and physiology knowledge, which would mean that you know where they are, and so you can focus your practice on activating those muscles as we go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is try to mobilize the back, because it's the primary focus of every posture. So we'll take the feet nice and wide and keep the softness in the knees. We're going to breathe in as we open the chest and lift the elbows wide, and breathe out as we reach forward, bending from the bottom of the spine and sort of draping ourselves forward. It's not really a forward bend, it's more like a forward curve. Breathing in and opening, breathing out and rounding forward. I'll do this side on for you as well. Breathing in and opening the chest, breathing out and just curving forward, draping forward. Breathing in and breathing out. Now see if you can focus on your pelvic floor and your belly muscles, scooping them in. Breathing in, feel what's activated in the back here. Breathing out, scooping the belly and feeling what's activated in the front of the body. Breathing in, breathing out. We'll do 2 more, focusing, breathing in on muscle contraction, breathing out. 1 more, breathing in, breathing out. We're going to finish by breathing in, standing tall, lengthening the legs, breathing out the arms down to the side. Good morning, Avril. If you haven't put yourself on mute, might you do that just now? Fantastic, thank you. Okay, and now we'll do like a standing cat pelvic tilt. So with the hands onto the hips, rolling the pelvis forward, tucking your tailbone under, and then rolling the pelvis the opposite way. Rolling forward and rolling the opposite way. Side on, it looks a little bit like this. Tucking under and then rolling, sticking the tailbone out. Tucking under and sticking the tailbone out. Focus on the pelvic floor and the abdominal muscles and the gluteus muscles, the muscles of the bottom. So as you tuck under, you squeeze the gluteus muscles, lift in the belly, and as you tuck out, you keep that lift in the belly, but you perhaps feel an extension in those muscles behind. Lovely job. Rolling one way and then the other. And you might have a much more subtle range of movement, and that's okay. Softening the knees here helps. If you try and do this with straight legs, it's much harder. Very good. So then we're going to come to center here and just wiggle a little bit from side to side and see if you can feel the muscles down the sides of the body working. And it helps sometimes to put your hands on here. So hands at the side of the body and just lifting one hip and then the other, or swaying your tailbone from side to side. And you can feel those muscles firing as you hold firm in the center. Aces. And then we'll come back to the center. So the reason why we focus a lot on drawing the abdominal muscles inwards and upwards is because that's something we can do. If I said to you, okay, engage your quadratus lumborum, you wouldn't necessarily be able to do that. But if we engage here at the front, there's a a similar reaction in the whole of this area of the body. Everything gets ready for action. So this is very good. Okay, so we're going to do with the feet a little bit closer together, maybe just underneath the hips. We're going to take the arms out to the sides. We're going to lift one leg and draw the opposite elbow towards it. So lifting one knee, drawing it towards the opposite elbow and to the other side. Excellent. So a little bit of balance here, and you can do this just on one side, holding a wall, and then do the other side, holding a wall. But we're going to do about 10 to each side, really focusing on the tummy area, so drawing abdominal muscles inwards and upwards, and focusing on the pelvic floor as well. So let's begin. We'll breathe in and out as we draw the elbow to the knee. Breathing in, standing tall, breathing out, elbow to knee. Breathing in, breathing out, elbow to knee. Breathing in, breathing out, elbow to knee. Let's keep going. We'll call this 3 and 4. Woo, she says. It helps to have a point of focus for number 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Lovely job. Just relaxing the arms down, rolling out the shoulders a little bit. Leaving our feet there, perhaps you can feel a little bit of the firing that's happened here, not just in the front of the body, but in the back of the body as well. We'll take our fingers to the shoulders and make some big circles with the shoulders. Excellent. And we're going to go the opposite way as well. Nice big shoulder circles. We do this with bent elbows because it's a little bit kinder to the shoulders, a little bit less load. And we'll finish at the bottom of this. Just let the arms go. So we're going to practice Utkatasana, which is a great posture for the muscles, particularly from the knees towards the waist. But it also trains into the upper back as well. So if you turn yourself, you don't have to turn yourself on your mat, but if you make sure your feet are about hip width apart, possibly slightly wider if that suits you. And we're going to take the hands onto the hips and simply bend the knees so that the heels are still on the floor. And as you look down at your feet, you can see your big toes. So if you can't see your big toes, usually that means that your knees have fallen towards each other. So you can take them slightly apart. If you can see all of your toes, your knees are too wide and you need to bring them back over the feet. So try to get the knees over the center of the foot, being able to see the big toe is good. And we've held this for a little while now, so we're going to lengthen the legs. And we're going to breathe in with the hands on the hips, breathe out, bend the knees again. See if you can still see your toes. Breathe in, lengthening the legs. Breathing out, bending the knees. So we're training our muscle memory to breathe in, stand tall, breathe out, to bring the knees exactly over the feet in a correct alignment. And once we're there, we can reach the arms up over the head or in front of the body. So if your shoulders get to about here and that's as far as they like to go, that's absolutely fine. And if you've got a little bit more room to maneuver or a little bit more room to negotiate, you can bring the arms so that they are either side of the ears. A little bit further back than that's not terribly helpful. So there is just perfect. And here sometimes people's shoulders have crept up a little bit. So we're going to focus on drawing the shoulder blades down behind the body, down the back. And that doesn't matter where your arms are, that's what we're going to be doing. So the head's nice and loose here. There's no effort into the neck, and you can gently turn your head from side to side to make sure the neck is free of tension. And then drawing the abdominal muscles inwards and upwards. Just going to play around with that position of the pelvis. So stick your tailbone out and then roll and tuck under, sticking the tailbone out, rolling to tuck under. And you can feel all of those muscles in the lower abdomen, the lower torso moving. Engagement in the gluteus muscles, the quadriceps, maybe in the hamstrings, particularly if you've got lazy buttock muscles. We're going to try and find the place that's halfway between extremely tucked under and extremely lengthened tailbone, and find that neutral place. It would be different for every person. And holding there as we breathe in and as we breathe out. And then to release out, reach tall with your legs, reach long with the arms, turn the palms and float the hands down to the side. When you come out of Utkatasana, when you've held it for a while, you get this rushing sensation into the fingers, and it's really lovely. So spend a moment just observing that sensation. It's the most tangible experience of prana for most newish yogis. I know not all of you are newish, but there we are. Okay, so if having the arms up for that long isn't helpful for your shoulders, or if you feel a little bit dizzy after holding, you can always hold with the hands in Namaste. There's no need to have the arms up over the head. We'll do this one more time. Well, we possibly might do it more than one more time, but we're going to do it one more time right now. So we're going to stand tall, hands onto the hips. And as you breathe out, bend the knees. If you are still new to this practice, just checking, making sure your knees are in the right place. Then firm in the belly, breathe in, take the arms up. To wherever they get to, breathe out, just settle the shoulder blades down the back. Feel a sort of broadening in the chest. Find your neutral spine. You might need to roll backwards and forwards a little bit. And somebody's just arrived, so hold for a moment. Oh no, she's gone. It's all good. Okay, so here, holding as we were, we're going to lift one foot onto its tiptoe and then let that heel come back down to the mat. And lift the opposite foot onto tiptoe and heel back down to the mat. Knees are still bent, raising one foot, heel off the mat and lowering down. Raising the opposite heel off the mat and lowering down. Then we're going to breathe in as we stretch all the way up, lengthening arms and legs, breathing out, releasing the arms down to the side. Excellent stuff. Spend a moment here. I know some of you will find that quite hard work on the back of the body. And if that's the case, you can take a moment in between with your feet a bit wider and sort of do some hip circles, which helps to release some of the effort from that area of the body. Fantastic stuff. And you can all do it if you like. It's no problem at all. It's quite a nice thing to do. Because we'll come back. I didn't want you to hold for any longer because of the dashing backwards and forwards. Okay, so this will be our last time for now. We're going to stand tall as we inhale. You can have your hands on your hips if you like. Exhaling, bending the knees, looking to see if your knees are in the right place if you need to. Firm in the belly, breathing in, taking the arms up. To wherever they get to, breathe out, settle the shoulders down. We'll find our neutral spine, rolling backwards and forwards just a little bit until you find a place that feels really good to you. And maybe here, engaging the buttocks a little bit so you can feel a sense of them beginning to work. Really using the abdominal muscles, maybe even the pelvic floor. And you're going to find a point of focus ahead of you and then just gently bring yourself up onto both tiptoes. And breathe. And hold. If you get tired, then feel free just to rest the heels down. You can bob up and down a little bit. And if you're able, then hold for another 2 deep breaths. Sorry, that's me just wobbling. And then when you're ready, you can float the heels down, lengthen the arms, lengthen the legs as you breathe in, and separate the hands and exhale the arms down to the side. Very good. And then taking a moment, just wriggling anything that needs to be wriggled. And particularly if it's in the hips, we can wriggle these bits as well. And we're going to come back to Utkatasana as part of a standing flow later, but before we do that, we're probably going to take a little gentle forward bend here. So for this forward bend, wide, not really wide feet, but wider than hip width apart. Nice softness in the knees. We don't want to strain the back. We want to be nice and gentle and kind. We're going to breathe in, reach the arms up, firm the belly, and breathe out as we fold forward from the hips like a hinge, like a swallow dive down, and then reach towards the floor. And you don't have to reach the floor. You can reach anywhere on your legs. And we're just going to hold with the backs of the hands turned towards the floor if you get that far, or just with the fingertips draping towards the floor. And maybe just have a little sway here. Now, forward bends are made easier by a touch of abdominal engagement. So if you draw your belly muscles inwards and upwards, you'll make a little bit more room for your body to fold. And if you want to, you can gently turn the head from side to side. And if you prefer to hold steady in the middle, you can do that. If you can easily hold elbow to elbow, then you might try doing that. That provides a little bit of extra weight to aid gravity in facilitating this forward bend. And you might just like to wriggle slightly out of the base of your back. Very gentle movements. Explore where you can find a little bit of extra space. And then we're going to try rolling the shoulder blades down the back, just as we did when we were in Utkatasana, and feel the freedom that offers the neck. A little gentle roll from side to side, perhaps. Gentle nodding. And then to come up, we're going to bend the knees deeply, let the arms go, tuck the chin in, scoop the belly in, press through the legs, engage the buttocks, engage the quadriceps, and roll up one vertebra at a time until you come to standing. And when you come to standing, sometimes after a forward bend like this can be a little bit low blood pressure, a little bit dizziness. So taking an opportunity to just feel some stillness for a moment. And then when you're ready, you can breathe in, reach the arms out and up, lifting the chest, and breathing out, drawing the hands down to Namaste. Aces. Very good. Okay, so we're going to do our standing flow that we've done many times before, but we're going to really focus on the core muscles as we do it. And then we're going to add a little bit of extra things, a few extra things to it. So feet are directly underneath the hips. I've got mine slightly wide. They can be closer together. And we've spent a few weeks finding grounding. So all of those same instructions apply. Find the outside edges of your feet, the pads of your toes, your heels, the ball of your foot, and feel downness or groundingness there. And then the center of your foot, feel your lift as you stand tall. I'm going to breathe in here in the center, in Tadasana, and breathe out, bring the hands to Namaste. Breathe in, reach the arms up over the head. Separate the hands, breathe out, draw the shoulder blades down. Breathe in, scoop your belly in, and as you breathe out, gently lean to your right side, reach your left arm over. Breathe in back to center, very firm in the belly. Breathe out as you stretch the right arm over to the left. We'll do the same thing one more time. Breathing in back to center. Breathing out as you reach your left arm to the right side. Breathing in back to center. Breathing out, reach the right arm to the left side. Breathing in back to center. We're going to breathe out as we drop the elbows wide. Breathe in, scoop the belly in. Breathe out as we twist towards the right and just soften the left knee perhaps. Breathe in back to center, belly muscles still working. Breathing out to the opposite side. Breathing in back to center one more time. Breathing out as you twist. Breathing in back to center. Breathing out as you twist. Soften the knees. Breathing in back to center. Breathing out, just reach the arms down to the side. We're going to breathe in and lift the arms all the way up. And breathe out with soft knees, fold all the way forward. So really bending in the knees, coming into your forward bend. Take 2 deep breaths. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in, draping forward. Deep breath out. To come up, you're going to look forward, engage the belly muscles, reach the arms out to the side, drop your bottom, breathe in as you stand tall, and breathe out, bring the hands down to Namaste. Excellent. You can release the arms as you continue to breathe well. This is our basic movement, and we're going to add some things to it. So this time, we're going to do exactly the same thing again, just for demonstration purposes. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, separate the shoulders, breathe out. Breathing in the center, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. We come back to the center, we're going to breathe in and then breathe out as we bend the knees. And then we're going to breathe in and do a little twist with our leg and elbow. So we're bending, it's called a twisted dancer pose. I'll do it side on so everyone can see. And then we're going to breathe out back to center. Then we're going to breathe in as we do a warrior 3. And then breathe out. We'll probably take a few more breaths to do these as we come into warrior 1. And then we're going to breathe in warrior 1. Breathe out as we lengthen the front leg. Breathe in again. Breathe out as we fold forward and down. Here we'll hold for a couple of breaths, then turn the back foot and step in. I'm going to bend the knees deeply and breathe in to come up. And breathe out. Okay? I shall do this side on because I think it's probably most useful. So we'll come to the front of the mat. And we'll do the whole thing to the other side again. Oh, because it's 2 sides. Lovely job. So standing tall and having your feet nice directly under the hips. Breathing in. Breathing out the hands to Namaste. Firm in the belly muscles. Breathing in, reaching the arms up. Breathing out, separate the hands, drop the shoulders down. Breathe in as you firm here. Breathe out as you reach the left hand to the right side. Breathe in back to center. Breathing out, right hand to left side. Breathe in back to center. Let's do that one more time. Breathing out as you sway to the side. Breathing in to the center. Breathing out as you sway to the side. Breathing in to center. Breathing out as you bend your knees, both of them. Breathing in, taking the arms wide. Breathing out, raise the right knee, take the left elbow towards the right knee as you twist, twisted dancer. Breathing in here. We'll breathe out here as well. Then we're going to breathe in back to the center, keep the leg off the floor if you can, and breathe out as you come into warrior 3. So your right leg is up behind you, arms out in front. Breathing in here. Don't worry about the wobbling. Breathing out, firm in the belly. Breathing in as you place your right foot down behind you, and breathing out, press into the bent left knee and lift the torso up. Breathing in here. Breathing out. Breathing in as you lengthen your front leg, both legs straight. Breathe out as you fold forward from the hips. Take the arms down to wherever is comfortable. It can be your hips if your torso is comfortable parallel to the floor. It can be the leg and the front, just don't put weight into it, or you can reach for the floor itself. We'll take a deep breath in here. If you've got room and you scoop your belly in, you can fold as you breathe out. One more deep breath in and deep breath out. We're going to soften the front knee, turn the back foot, and then step both feet to the front. So we're in a forward bend. Bend the knees deeply. And then on your next breath in, sweep the hands forward, press through the bottom and the legs to stand tall, and finish breathing out, hands to Namaste. Same thing to the left side. Breathing in as you stand tall. Breathing out, Namaste. Firm in the belly. Breathe in, reach the arms up. Breathing out as you separate the hands, shoulders down. Breathing in, reach the right hand to the left side. Breathing out, back to the center. Firm in the belly. Breathing in, reaching the left hand to the right side. Breathing out, back to center. One more time to each side. Breathing in as you reach. Breathing out as you return, the opposite breath. Breathing in as you reach. Breathing out as you return. Breathing in, open the chest. Lift the belly. Breathing out, bend the knees. Breathing in, separate the elbows. Breathing out as you twist to your left, raising your left knee, right elbow to left knee. Breathing in here. Breathing out. We'll breathe in back to the center and then just transition into warrior three in a way that is good for you. So we're firm in the belly, firm in the buttock. The left leg is up behind. The hands are reaching in front. You can have your toes on the floor if it's more helpful. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then we'll breathe in as we drop the left foot down. Press into the front thigh. Breathe out, lifting the torso. Warrior one, breathing in. Breathing out. Breathe in as you lengthen the front leg. Breathe out, lifting the belly. Fold forward from the hips just to wherever you get to. It could be hands on the hips. Could be hands onto the front leg in some way. Could be fingertips to the floor. Take a deep breath in, scoop the belly in, lengthen through the spine to the crown of the head, and breathe out and fold if you've got room to fold. Long, deep breath in. Long breath out. Pivot on the back foot, soften the front knee. Breathe in as you step forward into a forward bend, and breathing out, we're just going to bend the knees here. Breathe in, sweep the hands forward, drop the bottom, press through the legs, lifting in the belly to lift the chest. Breathing out, hands to Namaste. Just releasing the arms to either side. Taking a moment. Well done. So it's nice to do this very focused practice of flowing, and perhaps you can feel now all of the bits of your core that have been working. So take a moment with your feet just a little bit wider apart, perhaps closing the eyes here. The visual cortex is the largest part of the brain. So when we close our eyes, we get to reduce the stimulus to that part of the brain, which quietens the mind. And if you feel it's not your comfort zone to practice with your eyes closed, just gaze at one spot and observe all of the parts of your body that are talking to you, that have been lengthened or feel warmed or feel strengthened. Perhaps you're just aware of a little bit of tiredness, of fatigue. This could be the case. Very good. When you're ready, you can bring your hands to Namaste. Lift your chest, take your chin as far forward as you need to make a good stretch for you. Feel that stretch, that sense of releasing. A gentle smile. And when you're ready, raising your head, releasing your hands, opening your eyes. Awesome sauce, guys. Okay, so we're going to do a seated breathing practice before we transition into the next part of the class. So if you have something to sit on, please sit on something. I'm going to use a bolster today. You can sit on a block, a chair, a cushion. It's quite nice to sit on something because it gives the hips a little bit of a lift. So the theory for breath practice is that we want the knees to be lower down than the navel. So if you sit cross-legged and your knees are very high, it makes it really hard for you to breathe. So if you can get your knees lower than your navel, sitting cross-legged is not a problem at all. If you prefer just sitting on a seat, then that is perfectly fine. So knees lower than navel and back as long as possible. So we're creating the space to breathe in. And today we're going to do alternate nostril breathing, which is really balancing, because when we're doing a practice like focused on core and the strength, we need to balance that a little bit with flexibility. So in yoga, it's always a little bit of give and take, flexibility and strength. And so this balancing breath is very useful. And because it's the full moon, we're going to do a moon version of so for this, you don't need to practice with the mudra to close the nostrils, but it probably is a little bit more effective if you do. If you're not going to practice with that, then you're going to do your hands, and I'll teach you how to do that as well. So for those of you who are familiar with the mudra, you make your dominant hand into a fist, extend the little finger, the ring finger, and the thumb. And sometimes we need to sort of encourage the fingers to do the mudra. And then you use the ring finger on one side of your nose and the thumb on the other. You're pressing the fleshy part of the nose towards the center. And it's really gentle. It's only enough to close the nostril, not to make your nose go across one side of the face or the other. If you're going to use your hands instead, so you direct your breath with your mind, an open hand is an open nostril and a closed fist is a closed nostril. So in this breath, we'll be breathing in only through the left nostril and breathing out through both nostrils. So in this breath, you would keep your right hand closed as you breathe in and then open both palms as you breathe out. Right hand closed as you breathe in, open both palms as you breathe out. Okay, so for those using the mudra, get it ready. Bring the elbow close to the body so that you're not lifting the elbow away from the body or lifting the shoulder. Other hand in chin mudra, first finger and thumb together, other fingers extended. So we're going to center the head over the body. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Place the hands to the nose. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. Close your right nostril, breathe in through your left. Release your right nostril, breathe out through both. Close the right nostril, breathe in only on the left. Release the right nostril, breathe out through both. Close right, breathe in left. Open right, breathe out through both. Close right, breathe in left. Open right, breathe out through both. Close right, breathe in left. Open right, breathe out both. Soften the features of your face. Close right, breathe in left. Open right, breathe out through both. Soften shoulders. Close right, breathe in left. Open right, breathe out through both. Close right, breathe in left. Open right, breathe out through both. Then just let your arms relax and let your breath settle into its natural rhythm. And spend a moment, perhaps with the eyes closed, observing the effect of your practice. We're going to do this breath in the opposite way as well, where we breathe in through both nostrils and breathe out only on the left side. Again, you can do this with just the palms of the hands, breathing in with both hands open, closing your right hand and breathing out only on your left side. Breathing in, both palms open, closing the right hand, breathing out only on the left side. If you're using, this is Deer Mudra or Nirgi Mudra, then you can place your hand mudra to your face again. We'll take a deep breath in, both nostrils open, deep breath out, both nostrils open. Relaxing the shoulder and arm, breathing in to begin through both nostrils. Close your right nostril, breathe out only on your left. Open the right, breathe in through both. Close the right, breathe out only on the left. Open right, breathe in both. Close right, breathe out left. Open right, breathe in both. Close right, breathe out left. Open right, breathe in both. Close right, breathe out left. Open right, breathe in both. Close right, breathe out left. Open right, breathe in both. Close right, breathe out left. One more. Open right. Breathe in both. Close right, breathe out left. Allowing your arms to rest down. Keeping your eyes a little bit closed if they're closed already, or gazing gently downward. And observing the effect of your practice. And whenever you're ready, just fluttering the eyes open, taking a smile, and maybe taking a wriggle for your fingers and wrists if you have been using the mudra. It can make your hand a little stiff afterwards. So we've done a Chandra breath, which is a moon breath through the left nostril. It can be done either way, but we've done both because it's quite nice to do it this way, just in celebration of the full moon. It's nice to feel the same energy as is going on around in your environment. I hope you managed to catch the moon last night. It was awesome. Okay, so from here, we're going to come onto hands and knees for a little bit of practice on hands and knees. So just taking your support to one side and then bringing yourself onto your hands and knees. Here it's useful if you suffer with your wrists to have the hands just a little bit further forward than the shoulders. It gives them a little bit more, a less flexion, but the knees underneath the hips directly. And we're going to begin just by focusing on the pelvic floor and the abdominal muscles. So breathe in as you lift your pelvic floor and breathe out as you engage the abdominal muscles and draw them strongly in. We're going to release. Breathe in, engage the pelvic floor. Breathe out, engage the abdominal muscles, lifting them strongly in and up. And release. Breathe in, pelvic floor. Breathe out, abdominal muscles. and release. This time we're going to keep them on. Breathe in, pelvic floor engaged. Breathe out, lifting the abdominal muscles. And we're going to hold them in as we practice the rest of our practice. So breathing in, keeping those muscles focused and lengthening the chest forward into cow pose. Breathing out, rolling through the spine, chin towards the chest, cat pose. Breathing in, forward, opening the chest, lifting the tailbone perhaps slightly. Breathing out, rolling through the chest, chin to the chest, rolling through the spine, chin to chest. Breathing in, opening the chest. Are your abdominal muscles still engaged? Breathing out, rolling the spine the opposite way, making sure to scoop the belly in and lift the pelvic floor. Breathing in, lengthening forward. Breathing out, lengthening through the back. One more, breathing in, lengthening forward. Breathing out, rolling through the back. Very good. And if you like to here, you can drop yourself back into child's pose and bring the forehead to some kind of support. So it might be your stacked fists, it might be the backs of your hands, could be the floor. And if you like, you can have your arms down by your feet. You don't have to. Whatever lets your shoulders settle the best. I like to keep my arms in front for these practices. So here, really important to relax as much as you can the effort that you've just made through the abdominal muscles and a little bit in the pelvic floor. Please don't relax your pelvic floor all of the way. And you might feel in the back of the body, you're stretching out some of those muscles that worked to do your cat-cow pose. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. We're going to reach the hands forward again. Come back up onto hands and knees. And here, we're going to bring the knees a little bit closer together to give just a touch more stability. And we're going to just wriggle the spine a little bit to try and find a neutral position. So we don't want to be tucked under. We don't want to be all the way the opposite way. So a neutral position. Lifting the pelvic floor, lifting the abdominal muscles, pressing the mat away from you so you engage the shoulders as well. We're going to slide the right foot back until the toe tips are on the floor. And just holding here, feel what has engaged to make this motion. We'll slide the knee back underneath. Try to keep the hips quite neutral, making sure you're engaging through your core muscles. Reaching the right leg out behind you again. This time we're going to float the foot off the floor. We don't want it high off the floor, not above the hips. And just making sure that you're quite neutral in your neck, maybe turning the head from side to side. Firm in the belly muscles. Maybe you can feel now the buttocks engaged, the backs of the thighs, the quadriceps as well. And then releasing that knee back underneath the body. In the center, we're going to take a cat-cow. So inhaling as you look forward, and then exhaling, scooping the belly in, rounding through the spine, chin to chest. Come back to a neutral position. Press the mat away from you, engaging the shoulders. Lift the pelvic floor and the abdominal muscles. Slide the left foot back till the toe tips are stretched out on the floor behind you. We're just holding here with the foot on the floor, trying to feel what's engaged as we make this slightly increased demand on our core. And then sliding that knee back underneath the body. Again, engaging with the shoulders, lifting in the abdominal muscles, lifting in the pelvic floor. We're going to slide the left foot back, holding here, and then lifting just a little bit off the floor. Doesn't need to be much. Feel the engagement in the quadriceps, perhaps in the hamstrings, the buttocks. Maybe you have a sense of effort in the low back as well. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And then just releasing the foot to the floor, sliding the knee back underneath the body. I'm going to take a cat-cow, breathing in as you look forward, breathing out, rolling through the spine, chin to chest. We'll do one more like this. Rolling through the spine, chin to chest, and we're going to drop the hips down to the heels. And here in child's pose, if you can, turn your palms upwards and release the forehead to the floor. And if that feels like too much of a stretch, or it means that you can't get your head down or your neck's uncomfortable, then simply reaching your arms down so that the hands are down by the ankles. Whichever of these postures is most comfortable. Release the pelvic floor as much as you're able to. Relax the abdominal muscles. Feel a sense of release across the low back, the quadratus lumborum, the gluteus muscles, the muscles of the thighs. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Reach your hands forward again, palms to the floor, and coming up into hands and knees again. So we're going to keep the knees towards each other in the center, and we're going to again try to find that neutral spine if you need a bit of a wiggle to do that, engaging the abdominal muscles, the pelvic floor, and the shoulders, this time sliding the left hand in front of you. So you're reaching the fingertips away and holding, and maybe we'll lift here as well. So reaching the arm up off the floor, underneath shoulder height. Feel what engages. Perhaps you're more aware of the center of the body, the abdominal muscles, the pectoral muscles, the arm muscles, the shoulder muscles, and reach that arm down. In the center, we take a cat-cow. Inhale as we look forward. Exhale, rounding through the spine. Coming back to neutral, lifting the belly, lifting the pelvic floor. Slide the right hand away from you in front. Fingertips on the floor to begin with. And then if you want to, you can lift that arm to underneath shoulder height, so not beyond shoulder height, and feeling what's engaging. Be aware of where you've got effort. And taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. We'll release that hand back down to the floor. So we're back to hands and knees, taking a cat-cow again, breathing in, looking forward, breathing out, rounding through the spine. Coming back to the center, engaging with the shoulders, engaging with the abdominal muscles. We're going to do opposite hands and feet. So really firm in your center as you slide your right foot back with the toe tips on the floor. Slide the left hand forward with the fingertips on the floor. This might be enough. This might be enough of an effort for you. But if you'd like to, you can lift your left arm. And if that feels like enough of an effort, then stick with that. And if you'd like to, you can lift your right leg. And then everybody choosing the position that you want, keeping the head nice and neutral. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. One more deep breath in. As you exhale, hand and foot back down to the floor and slide the hand and foot underneath the body, or hand and knee underneath the body again. Let's take a cat-cow, inhaling forward. Exhaling, rounding through the spine. We'll come back to center. We'll do this to the opposite side. So engaging belly and pelvic floor. We'll slide the left foot back and the right hand forward. It might be that this is enough. Maybe this side is different. If you want to, you can lift your right arm underneath shoulder height. And if you want to, you can lift your left leg even, underneath hip height. Take a deep breath in. Try not to laugh. Deep breath out. Very strong in the core. Deep breath in. As you exhale, release hand and foot. Knee back underneath the body. A quick cat-cow, inhaling, looking forward. Exhaling, rounding through the spine. We're going to drop the hips to the heels and come into child's pose, turning the palms upwards if that suits you. If you prefer, reaching the arms down to the feet. A couple of deep breaths here. Softening the effort, particularly in the abdomen. and the pelvic floor. Relaxing the face. And whenever you're ready, coming back up onto your knees or onto hands and knees. I'm going to come up onto my knees to release my wrists. If you'd like to do the same, you can. And just rolling through the wrists, so making any movements that feel good to you. You might interlace the fingers and make figure of eights with the wrists. You might prefer just to simply shake them out. Okay, so to take a little bit of pressure off the wrists, from this next practice, we're going to do it on the forearms. And actually, this is a dolphin, but we're going to do it slightly differently. So dolphin is used to prepare for headstand, but it's also a great core exercise. So we're going to cross the arms at the elbows so that we're holding onto the upper arm of the opposite side. And we're going to walk our elbows forward on the mat, leave the elbows where they are, and interlace the fingers. Because we're not preparing for headstand with this, if you want to, you can do this with your palms flat on the floor, or with your palms together. Both of those are slightly more challenging than holding the hands clasped with the fingers. So here we've got the elbows slightly ahead of the shoulders. We're going to take the knees maybe just a touch back as well. And firm the belly muscles and the pelvic floor. Tuck the toes under, press into the elbows and lift the hips up. And you can keep the knees bent here if you're a little stiff in the backs of the legs. And if you want to, you can lengthen the heels towards the floor. They won't touch, they're not supposed to. So really lifting in the abdominal muscles, let your head be really relaxed. So you're looking back towards your toes. We're going to inhale here and exhale as we draw the shoulders forward, looking slightly in front of the hands. We're going to inhale as we press back through the elbows, looking towards the feet. And exhale as we look forward in front of the hands. Inhale, pressing back, still firm in the belly. Exhale, coming forward. Keep going if you can. We'll just do 2 more. Inhaling back and exhaling forward. Inhaling back, really pressing through the forearms. Exhaling forward. We're going to inhale back and then rest in child's pose, or if child's pose not as comfortable, rest all the way flat on your tummy. So here in child's pose, we want to make it an active child's pose. So if you're flat on your tummy, you can do exactly the same thing. We're going to tent our fingertips. So fingertips on the floor. So we lift the arm completely off the floor, but we can keep the forehead on any kind of support. And take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. We'll come back onto the hands and knees. Come back onto the knees, crossing the arms again. So in yoga, we like to do balance. We've done our balancing breath. We're going to cross the arms the way that we normally would, and then reverse the cross. So choosing the alternative way of holding. We're going to walk the elbows a little bit further forward this time. And if you interlaced your fingers, this time interlacing your fingers the opposite way as well. So we're doing a second round of dolphins, but we want a much wider space between the elbows and the knees. Firming the belly, firming the pelvic floor, and then lifting the hips up and easing the heels down. Again, you can do this with bent knees if you're a little stiff in the back of the legs. No problem at all. Press with the elbows so you bring your chest back behind the elbows and look towards your feet. Lifting in the pelvic floor, inhale here. And as you exhale, draw the shoulders forward, looking ahead of your hands. Maybe you're slightly flatter this time, almost in a plank pose. Inhale back. Exhale forward. This is slightly easier for some people. Inhale, pressing back, looking towards your feet. Exhaling forward. Inhaling back. Exhaling forward. Remember, you can bug out any time. We'll do 2 more. Inhaling, but you don't have to. Exhaling, firm in the belly. Inhaling and exhaling. Let's inhale all the way back. We're going to drop the knees to the mat, and this time we're all going to lay all the way flat on our tummies. So coming all the way down to the mat, you can make a pillow out of your hands, put your forehead down or turn your head to one side. And if making a pillow out of your hands is not comfortable, you can rest the arms down by the side, turning the head to one side. Try to find a place that you can feel a sense of letting go. Softening the effort across the abdominal muscles. And maybe here you can be aware of a softening of the effort across the low back as well. Toes are turned towards each other, heels falling out to the side. And if you want to, you can roll your hips from side to side. And if you've had your head turned, turning it to the opposite side. Excellent. So we're going to do a gentle back bending exercise here. Forward bending in the dolphin, back bending in this variation of Salabhasana, the locust. So we're going to bring the the thighs towards each other and press the pubic bone down and reach the arms out in front. The hands are separated, about shoulder width apart, and the forehead to the floor. You're going to press your pubic bone down, engage your belly muscles and your pelvic floor, and try to keep them engaged all of the time. Inhale as you lengthen the left hand and the right leg on the floor. Exhale as you lift the arm, the leg, and your head up and lower. Inhale as you lengthen the right arm and the left leg on the floor. Exhale as you lift arm, leg, head, and lower. So opposite hands and feet. Inhale, lengthen diagonally across the body. Exhale, lift. The head might come up and lower. Inhale, lengthen diagonally. Exhale, lift and lower. Alternate sides, still firm in the belly. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lift and lower. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lift and lower. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lift and lower. Still firm in the belly. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lift and lower. One more to each side. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lift and lower. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lift and lower. And then just relaxing for a moment, making a pillow out of your hands if you'd like to. You can turn your toes towards each other, heels apart. And if you need to make a little shimmer with the low back, making a little shimmer. But here in the center, and in your pose of rebound or repose, taking a moment to really soften the effort from the abdominal muscles and breathe deeply. As you breathe, you'll find that your low back lifts. The spaces between the discs separate. Spaces between the vertebrae separate and the discs are released. This is still pretty much the best thing you can do for your low back. 5 minutes at the end of your day. Softening as much effort as you can. And then bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, preparing the abdominal muscles for movement, coming back up onto your hands and knees, and then coming into a good position for downward facing dog. So I like to have my hands a little bit further forward, tucking the toes under. We're going to really firm the belly muscles and just hover the knees off the floor and hold here for a moment and then release the knees back down to the floor. So affirming the belly muscles, the pelvic floor, hover the knees off the floor. This time, press the chest towards the thighs, keeping the knees really bent. Hold for a moment. And then we're going to come back to hands and knees. Last time, prepare the pelvic floor and the abdominal muscles. Hover the knees a little off the floor. Press the chest back towards the very, very bent legs. And then from here, we're going to extend the legs a little. So you don't have to have straight legs, extending the legs a little. And still keeping that lift in the belly, easing one heel down to the mat and then the other. So just working a little bit of length into the back of the body. A little bit of motion from side to side. If you want to, you can bend the knees and wiggle in the hips. And of course, you can turn in the head as well, making nice movements with the neck too. And then coming back to the center and resting either into child's pose or all the way flat on your tummy, whichever suits you best. I need a little bit of chalk for my hands, so I'm just going to go and find it. Oh, excuse me while I make big clouds. There we are. Okay. So taking another deep breath in your child's pose or lying flat on your tummy. And then coming back to your hands and knees for downward facing dog again. So this time, we do exactly the same thing as before. Tuck the toes under, lift the belly muscles, the pelvic floor, float the knees off the floor, press the chest back towards the bent thighs, the bent legs, the thighs of the bent legs, and then trying to keep the length in the spine as you extend through the legs. And you don't have to have the legs straight. In fact, it's much better to have a soft bend in the knee, particularly if you feel a strain into your back or if you are aware of a shortness in the back of the legs. We're going to again paddle through the legs, easing one heel down to the floor and then the other, firming the space between the shoulder blades, the abdominal muscles, the pelvic floor, keeping softness in the neck. And then we'll take this one stage further. We're going to bring the feet towards each other. And we're going to do a three-legged dog. So see if you can anchor your left heel towards the floor and lift your right leg up to about hip height. So we don't want it to go really high, just to about hip height. Firming in the belly muscles and holding here as you breathe. And then gently releasing down. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Anchor the right heel to the floor. Lift the left leg up to about hip height, maybe slightly lower, not higher. Firm the belly muscles. Press the first finger and thumb as well as the outside edge of the hand to the floor. Take a few deep breaths. And gently down. Here we're going to bend both knees and rest either in the pose of a child or flat on your tummy. And if you want to, you can, excuse me, turn your palms upwards. Relax the space between the shoulders, the abdominal muscles, the features of the face. And then coming back up onto hands and knees again. Okay, so this time we're going to do something called waving, well, some people call it a waving vinyasa, but it's a waving motion. It's called Shashank Bhujangasana, really. Which means the hare and the snake. So from here, we're going to breathe in as if we were doing a cow pose, lengthening the chest forward, lifting the pelvic floor, the abdominal muscles and the tailbone. Breathing out, rounding through the spine and dropping the hips towards the heels. Then dropping the forearms to the floor as you breathe in, take your nose as close to the floor as feels comfortable. Lift the forearms off the floor as you bring the belly to the floor and into cobra pose. And as you breathe out, rounding through the spine up onto your knees and taking the hips down towards the heels. So inhaling forward on the forearms, on the hands, sliding the body through the shoulders, through between the hands. And exhaling as you round through the spine up onto your knees and dropping your hips towards your heels. Inhaling forward, firm in the belly, firm in the pelvic floor, opening the chest. Exhaling, rounding through the spine, chin to chest, hips to heels. Inhaling forward. It's a little bit easier if you come a little bit higher up. Exhaling as you round through the spine and back. We'll do just one more. Inhaling forward. And exhaling back. Very good. And then just resting, turning the palms upwards or resting the arms down by the hips or lying flat on your tummy, whichever of these is most restful for you. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Whenever you feel ready, coming up into kneeling. We're only briefly here because we're going to go into relaxation after a few postures on the floor. So if you've got a bolster, this is when you might need your bolster. If not, a little block will do, or a cushion, something of this nature, even a rolled up mat would work here. So you're going to come to lying down on your back, but you also might want to put on your warm clothing, your socks, your jumpers, and have your blankets close by if you'd like a blanket. Whenever you're ready, you can join me lying down on your back. And we're going to just start with our knees bent here. And the arms can reach away from the body a little bit. So we're lying in constructive rest, this half Shavasana pose, where the feet are supported by, the feet are on the floor, the knees are supported towards the hips. And the arms are resting away from the sides. And we're going to do a little spinal twisting here. So we're going to focus on those spaces that we've been working with, focusing on lifting the belly muscles inwards and upwards, and drawing the pelvic floor in. And here we want to settle the shoulders towards the mat. So imagine you're pressing the shoulder blades and the backs of the shoulders into the mat as well. So inhaling in this position, the feet are hip width or more apart. And exhaling as you gently sway the knees to the right side. Inhaling back to center, still firm in the center of the body. Exhaling, swaying the knees to the left. Let's move with our breath. Inhaling up and exhaling over. Inhaling up and exhaling over. Really focus on that control you have in your center. Exhaling over. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Inhale back to center. We'll bring the feet a little bit closer together but not touching. Firm in the center, firm in the shoulders. Inhale in the center. Exhale the knees to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale, knees to the left. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Inhaling up. And exhaling over. One more to each side. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Inhaling up. And exhaling over. Inhale back to the center. Bring the feet together and the knees together. Firm in the belly and firm the shoulder blades and the back to the shoulders down. Inhale in the center. Exhale as you take the knees to the left, the left foot will come off the floor. Inhale back to center, firm in your belly. Exhale, knees to the left, right foot comes off the floor. Inhale back to center. Exhale as you twist to the right. Inhale back to center, firm in the belly. Exhale as you twist to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, coming back to the center. And we're just going to draw the knees into the chest a little bit, hug them towards us. Make any sort of stirring motions or rocking motions that give your low back area a bit of a massage. So take this opportunity for a bit of self-love. You can get all the way to the outside edges of the hips, or you might prefer to focus on more of the center of the low back or the space underneath the ribs by drawing the knees more strongly in and rocking with the knees in so the buttocks are off the floor. Bringing your knees to stillness and just rolling your head gently from one side to the other. Excellent. And then you're going to float one foot at a time down to the floor and grab whatever support you've got. So whether it's a bolster or a block or a book or a cushion, we're going to press into the heels to lift the buttocks up and slide the support underneath our sacrum. So you might find it nicer to support more of the buttocks as well. What we want to avoid is the soft space above the hip bones. We don't want support into that soft space at the back of the body. You can feel it there. So we want to support the bony structures of the body with this kind of firm support. So underneath the sacrum, the back of the hips, maybe a little bit into the buttocks, the heels are on the floor. We can release the arms out to the side. Some people prefer to have their arms close down towards their hips. You might prefer to have yours wide, sort of T-shaped out at shoulder height. You might prefer to have your arms over your head, particularly if you're quite bendy in the back. That can be quite nice. So whichever of these positions suits you, or choose your own, go your own way. You're perfectly entitled. And we're just going to take a few deep breaths. We don't need to have any effort in the abdomen anymore. We can surrender the weight of the feet, the legs, the pelvis, the shoulders, arms, hands, and head down into the support, into the mat, into the floor. If you'd like to do a little bit more, if this feels really comfortable, you might want to stay here, just softening and relaxing. If you want to do a little bit more, you can extend your left leg along the mat. Maybe that feels quite nice. You might want to have your left heel on the floor to feel that openness across the hip flexor, the iliopsoas, the front of the left side of the pelvis. And that might feel great as it is. And if you want to, you can explore how it feels to bend the right knee into your chest at the same time. For me, that makes it a little bit more comfortable on the back of the pelvis. Here, you can ease that knee towards you, or you can make circles with the right knee if that feels comfortable. And that lifts my left leg off the floor a little bit. And so holding the right knee towards you, or you can just let it be on its own with the arms relaxed. Maybe lifting the left heel just off the mat. If it feels okay to do that, you might want to explore how it feels to sway that leg a little bit side to side. And you might prefer just keeping your foot on the floor. That's absolutely fine. Find a position that works for you and just take a couple of deep breaths. Try to let those tummy muscles be nice and relaxed now. Soften the features of the face. If you find it hard to soften the face, just smile. It works really well. And then gently releasing the right knee, letting the foot come down to the floor, bending in the left foot, placing that foot on the floor too. We're going to lengthen the right leg away, feeling that openness across the front of the right side of the pelvis. You can explore how it feels as you flex through your heel or point through your toe or leave your foot very relaxed. If you could benefit from a little bit more stability, you can bend the left knee into your chest. What that does is it provides a little bit of stability to the left side of the pelvis, which means you can open a bit more on the right side. You might like to make circles with your left knee. That may or may not suit you. Easing the knee in and out a little bit. Finding what lifts your right foot off the floor. Perhaps nothing does, that's okay. Holding the left knee, explore how it feels to have the heel of the right foot just millimeters off the floor. And maybe swaying gently with that long extended right leg from side to side. Whenever you're ready, you can bring your leg back to stillness. Maybe explore how it feels to have the right heel on the floor. Choose whichever position is the most comfortable for you. We'll take a deep breath in. Soft face. Deep breath out. Let's do one more like that. Deep breath in. And a deep breath out. And from here, we're going to let the right heel come to the floor if it isn't already, and extend the left leg. So that's also long, the two legs doing the same thing now. And for some people, this might be a little bit too much. And if that's the case, just bending your knees, placing your feet on the floor, giving a little bit more support to the low back. If you feel comfortable with the legs extended, you can go ahead and do that. Release the arms to wherever feels good. Whichever position you've chosen, just taking a few deep breaths. Whenever you're ready, you can bend the knees in one at a time. Hug them towards you. So we've got both knees in now. We're just going to change the shape that we're making. You might need to adjust your position on your support. We're going to extend the feet up towards the ceiling. So it's almost like a supported shoulder stand, or Vipariti Karani in this case, legs up the wall. So just allowing your Legs to be extended. Your knees can be bent. That doesn't matter. It's not about lengthening the backs of the legs. It's about supporting the pelvis, but with all of the weight of the legs directly down. So the sacrum is supported, the space between the two hip bones at the low back. But you've got this downward weight, this grounding sensation. If it feels comfortable, you can continue to hold this for another few deep breaths. Trying to keep the face nice and soft. If you're finding it hard to hold the feet without tension, just rolling the feet at the ankles at the feet, the legs at the ankle, rolling through your ankles or wiggling your toes. And here you can gently roll the thigh bones and the hips just by waving the feet in and out. And then we're going to bend the knees into the chest. Take the feet down to the floor one at a time and move from here to relaxation. So pressing into the heels a little bit, and just if you've got some support that will go under both knees, sliding it down so it's underneath your knees. Heels are on the floor, and if you prefer, you can dispense with your support completely. And we're just going to allow the body to soften here for relaxation. So if you feel any sensations in your low back, you can press your low back down towards the mat using a little bit of firmness in the belly muscles. Feel that lengthen out and release any tension. Hold as you breathe. And then release. Gently roll the head from one side to the other. And come back to center. We're probably going to run about 5 minutes longer than expected, just while we have a nice relaxation. Take a deep breath in. Sigh out through your mouth. A deep breath in. Let everything go as you exhale. Do 2 more. A deep breath in. Let your muscles begin to relax. Last breath in. Surrender your weight down. Allow your breath to find its natural, spontaneous rhythm and fall away into silence. Take your awareness to your forehead. Feel it soften and spread. Feel the area around your eyes relaxing. Your mouth, tongue, and jaw releasing. Closing the eyes if you haven't already done so. Take your awareness into the back of your body. And first, become aware of any part of the back of the body that feels like it's been hard at work today. Maybe areas that feel warm, feel strength, areas that feel lengthened. Maybe anything that just feels a little tingling of energetic engagement or movement. And then allow the whole of the back of the body to soften, to release, to let go downward. Move your awareness to the front of your body. Become aware of all of the parts of the front of your body. that feel like they've been involved in today's work. Notice how they feel. See if you can let go of any tension. Soften the structures of the front of the body. Feel a sense of releasing, relaxing. Become aware of the space over you and around you. Feel the touch of air on your face. Feel it soften the forehead. Soften the face. Feel the sensation of holding space in the palms of the hands. Move your awareness to your breath and gently deepen your breath, inhaling for the count of 3 and exhaling for the count of 3. Inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3. Inhaling light, energy, harmony. Exhaling tension, fatigue, negativity. Inhaling light, energy, harmony. Exhaling tension, fatigue, negativity. Allow your breath to find this rhythm whenever you're aware of it. Relaxing a little deeper with every exhalation. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Bring movement back into your hands and your feet, wiggling your fingers and toes, rolling the feet, the ankles, rolling the hands at the wrists. When you feel ready, You can take a deep breath in and stretch the arms, stretch the legs, maybe lift the hips off the floor a little, maybe yawn. When you feel ready, you can bend your knees into your chest, hug them towards you. Make any movements that feel good with the spine. Maybe even turning the head from side to side, massaging out that low back area. And then when you're ready, just rolling to one side, taking a moment here with the eyes gently closed, letting your body come round a little bit at a time. When you feel ready, just lengthening your top leg, pressing up with your hands to come into any comfortable seated position. With the eyes gently closed, bring the palms together, rub them vigorously, get lots of heat into the hands, movement into the arms and shoulders, pressing firmly, rubbing hard. When the hands begin to feel warm, placing them over the eyes. Maybe it's just contact and not warmth, and that's okay. Blinking into your palms a few times before you release your hands down as you open your eyes. Namaste, guys. Thank you for joining me for this practice. Okay, first let me get everybody off.